Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is my thank you live that I promised everybody that I would do because of your viewership and also your participation for spending the time, taking the time out of your day to watch my interview that I did with Cara Maria, and also for the people who sent me the super chats. I'm extremely appreciative of that. This live is going to be probably about 30 minutes, but I'm going to do a Q&A. So whatever you want to ask me, throw it in the chat and I'm going to answer it the best that I can. Hi, Cass. So I was watching back the interview and it was cool seeing it. This is probably the fourth time that I've personally watched it. And I liked being able to see it and see everybody's feedback at the same time. Um, Before I do any interview with anyone, I always go on Google, on YouTube, and I search their other interviews just to get an idea of just to see how they are in an interview and the kind of questions that they've been asked before. And I watched maybe 3 or 4 of her interviews and then some interview clips. And I personally think that at least out of what I saw, this was the best one. I mean, one thing is, I was looking at it and saying this was not really a challenge season 40 heavy interview, but I didn't really want it to be necessarily. I mean, the challenge season 40 is the low hanging fruit. In other words, it's the season that just happened. And if you want something that is just for the sake of let's get some quick stuff for the algorithm, I mean, I could have just gone all in on challenge 40, but I wanted it to be comprehensive because y'all know I don't do these interviews that much. I don't get that many of these interviews. So I wanted to go in chronological order and ask her questions from the beginning of her journey and kind of chronicle everything up until where we are now. So that's what I ended up doing. Appreciate that, Cass. Cass Wash. Thank you, Ma. So if you guys have any Q&A, because that's what this is for, a Q&A, that's what YouTube suggested for me to do. I didn't have a plan to do a live afterwards, but when you're live, YouTube gives you suggestions. It's like make a super chat goal, and then it's suggested as if you reach that super chat goal to do a live Q&A. So I'm hopping on here for that. That definitely wins for the most random thing that I've seen today. Definitely wins. Well, I mean, I guess you didn't see my membership video. You are a member, but you should go back and look at my membership video when I was in the studio before I actually did the interview. And I definitely was talking about the anxiety that I felt before that started. I felt so much anxiety going into this, and prior to it starting, I felt so much anxiety. And I was surprised that once she actually got on to the live or onto the video, I basically didn't feel any. So that was the part that I was most happy about. I feel anxiety in every single one of these things. Like when I was going to Challenge Mania and I was thinking about the Carl outfit, I was like, everybody is going to be looking at me. So I felt nervous just thinking about the fact that I was going to walk in there and everyone was going to look at me because I was going to stand out. But again, like, it's almost, I think, what some performers have described, actors, actresses, singers, comedians, where they're like, my everyday life, I'm nothing like that, but then once I get started with what I'm doing, I don't even think about it. So that's how it is with me. I wasn't nervous during the interview, but I was nervous so much before it started. I always win for the most random thing said in a day. That's a fact. Oh, you did watch that. Okay. You could tell he was nervous at the beginning. Oh, yeah, I was. Then got smooth like butter. Nathan. Hi, Nathan. I don't think I know you, but thanks for joining. Cast your dustiness is showing. You never got the Hot Pockets question answered. Oh, well, but Cass and Ma do. Since you didn't ask Kara if she likes Hot Pockets, do you like them? I do like Hot Pockets. Little culture in the server is me. That one person that always be Bramdum Tiny. I don't know. Favorite hot pocket flavor, pepperoni. Yeah, I'm definitely confused about that. I don't know what that is. I only know the people that were in there when I was the administration on that. Since that time, anyone who has joined afterwards, I don't know. I mean, I might have seen, but I don't really know. It's like a meme in the server now, I guess. It's my server now. Yeehaw. Well, you'll get to know me more because I plan to join the streams more often. Good to know. Thank you. Did you read off the questions during the interview or remember them? I didn't read any of the questions, but what I did was I had my paper next to me while so I would ask a question and then she would answer and then I would have my paper next to me. So my paper gave me like a general order of what I wanted to ask, but some things that I threw in there were not on the paper. Like it was based on her responses is what I asked next. I just made up some questions on the spot. Like the TJ thing was not on my paper. There's a few of them. There's a few of them that I just catered my questions based on her responses to what I said. But I do have the paper as a guideline so that I don't forget any major points that I want to touch on. When I did my interview with Wes, it was totally different because the Wes interview, I was like, this guy is getting me so off track. You probably couldn't tell during the interview, but I had all these questions and I'm like, his answers are so long and they're so off track that I can't even really get into most of what I wrote down on the paper. I was asking everything word for word based on what was on the paper. And then when I looked at the feedback of the interview, people were telling me, they were like, oh, this is one of the best Wes interviews that I've ever seen. So I was like, maybe I need to be a little less rigid. But I had 4 pages of notes. I mean, I had 4 pages of questions, actually. And actually, I asked basically everything that was in those questions, except some of the questions that I asked, she answered like 2 to 3 questions in one. So I was like, okay, I remember I had a question about this, this, and this. So when I heard her answering multiple things at once, I was like, I can skip that. I can skip that question. It is about them. That's what I had to learn. I mean, I'm telling you, that's the thing that Wes taught me the most when I got the feedback about my Wes interview, where I thought it was bad because I didn't get to the points that I wanted to get to. But then I'm like, you know what? If I asked him a question about, oh, how was that pole wrestle with Derek? And then Wes is like, well, speaking of the pole wrestle with Derek, growing up in Kansas, I went to school at this and this place, and then I did something in elementary school with this guy, blah, blah, blah. And we had this fight. And it's like, to me, it might be random, all over the place, but to the fandom, they're like, I've heard about this pole wrestle question 100 times, but I have not heard about this fight that he had with Billy on the playground. So but she actually pretty much answered everything that I had on the paper and then some. So that's why, in terms of my objectives, I consider this my most successful one that I've had so far. Wes sounds like me doing an interview. Thank you, Cass. I just yap nonstop. Where is Kira? Kira asked for this, and Kira's not here. Kira and Ed, and also who else? Charicity. I didn't see Charicity in the comments. I saw Charicity in the comments at the beginning. Maybe she had somewhere to go or something to do. You meaning me or Mark? Yapping can be both good and bad. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they were just kind of going on a random just rant about randomness, then I'd probably have to reel them in, but she didn't really do that. I mean, she pretty much answered all the questions that I asked within, within reason. Oh, Ed is at work. And Ashley, yeah, Ashley too. Shout out to Ashley. Ed is always working. Ed is a working man. I'm always working too, but I'm not working on weekends. Even though my job has told me if you need to do any catch up work or anything like that, you can work on a weekend. I'm like, my time is my time. I can only give you so much of my time. And Ashley got us to our goal, and Ed got us to $69. It's only weekends, though, I'm pretty sure. Oh, he doesn't work weekdays anymore? Interesting. So he just works continuously on weekends, then, I guess. They really think people want to work. I mean, some people do. I don't. I don't. You're basically buying my time with money. And the money is not enough for me to sit here and think that it's worth it. I do work overtime on weekdays, but I do not work on weekends. I had a job. I've had a couple jobs where I worked weekends, and I don't think I'll be doing that again. Sounds like Bill Lumberg. If you could work on Saturday, that'd be great. His schedule got changed right before Christmas. Wow. But I mean, that means he has Monday to Friday off? Because if so, I don't know. Maybe that would be a cool schedule to have Monday to Friday off and then only work. Well, or Monday to Thursday. I don't know what he's working. What is it? Friday to Sunday? Whoops. I think I gotta skedaddle soon because I'm going out with a friend. Thanks for joining. Have drunk. You know what? That typo is based on whatever you be putting in your chat, Cass. Have drunk. Cracking up. Oh, only Saturday and Sunday? That's interesting. I was like, is he drunk again? I got about maybe 10 to 15 more minutes, but I'm going to come back on. I'm going to come back on probably, possibly, or probably in the evening. But yeah, all the post-game interviews that I saw of Cara in the past couple of weeks after she got eliminated from the show, they were just asking her about the swimming. They were asking her about her relationship with Tori. They were asking her about the last elimination that they did, that she did, I mean, where her and Tori had to float in the water and Tori beat her in that. And they were asking her some Laurel questions. It was just the same generic blueprint. And I asked those questions as well. But as I was putting all my questions together, I was like, you know what? I don't really want to ask her a series of questions that is solely focused on season 40 of the challenge, because if I'm going to have her for an hour, I'm like, I want to go in some kind of a chronological order from beginning to now and ask her as much as I can about her challenge lifespan. And I didn't really care to ask questions that were so specific to, oh, tell me about pole wrestle, or tell me about this specific thing that happened on this episode, you know, because there's plenty. That's what most interviewers do. I know that would have been cool. That was interesting when she said that she had a moment where the first time that Carl and Dave came out together was floating in the pool and, you know, and treading water and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden that ended up being their elimination game. I didn't. I would never have known that. The BB exit interviews are the worst. I remember I was watching the exit interviews. I don't remember who it was for, but I watched about 5 of them. And then after 5, I was like, y'all all asked the exact same questions. And the person who got eliminated answered the exact same way for every single one of these people. That's why I can't be on that list. I mean, as much as I would like to be on a list where I know that I can get exclusive interviews with cast, if I can only ask them the same generic questions that everybody else asks, I wouldn't enjoy that. I'll be honest with you. You love that number, huh, Ma? By the way, my new camera is actually a simple camera that I got just for that interview. It's only a 1080p streaming camera, and it was not that expensive, but it did the job. And I had this mic that I bought for the John Brennan podcast, and seems to be working pretty good. Like 222 and 420. 222 is a thing? I didn't know that. Here I was being a good mute girl listening to, then Ma had to crack me up. Leave the poor drunk man alone. Oops, I can't keep my mouth hole shut. Thank you all on this chat, by the way, because everybody who has commented on this chat, or almost everybody, was part of those donations as to why. Oh, 12-ounce mouse. Do they still make that? I remember one night in the early 2000s when I was in college. No, I was in mid 2000s. Mid to late 2000s. One of my friends was like, "Oh, you should check out 12-ounce mouse." What do I remember from 12-ounce mouse? That is really funny. I was surprised that I actually found 12-ounce mouse to be funny, because I think the first 2 or 3 episodes that he showed me, I was like, this is dumb. And then, like, by episode, the 4th or 5th episode I saw, I was like, this is actually funny. AI needs to stop taking creative jobs and just do. I know the BB interviews are pretty much AI at this point because they all sound exactly the same. I do 12-ounce mouse. 12-ounce mouse is hilarious. I can't really, like, I vaguely remember it, but I bet if I went on YouTube and watched a couple of episodes, it would refresh my memory. You know when y'all said, oh, it wasn't y'all, but you know when Kira was talking about meeting Amanda and Amanda being so cool in person and regular. Um, before the interview started with Kara, this is what made me calm down in terms of like relaxing a little bit. Was I was like, oh, I'm about to interview Cara Maria. Then when I got on with her, she was eating some candy. She was like, oh, I'm just eating some candy. Sorry, y'all. I mean, sorry. And then after that, she was just walking around the room. And then she was like, let me adjust my camera. Let me adjust it again. Let me adjust it again. She was like, does it look good if it's further back or if it's closer? She was just fixing everything up. And I was like, she's just a regular person. I mean, even though I met her a couple of times, it's not like I know her like that on a personal level. I just know I've interacted with her a couple of times at events and through messages. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Ma. Yeah, Ainsley. Ainsley pretty much does the interviews. When does the next season of Survivor start, by the way? Because there's so much time between the last Big Brother season and the next Big Brother season. I have to fill my time with other things. I mean, I'm watching The Traitors, which I am loving so far in the first 3 episodes. And what else? I think The Traitors. I think The Traitors is the only competition show that I'm watching at the moment because the challenge has ended. But the challenge is going to have the reunion part 1 on Wednesday and the reunion part 2 next Wednesday, the following Wednesday. And then after that, they're going to have All Stars season 5. So I'm going to have All Stars to watch. February 26th. Okay, so it's not that far away. I want to see, where can I watch Survivor Australia? I want to know where I can watch that because I want to see it, but I'm not sure where it's on. 2 seasons of Survivor before the Amazing Race and Big Brothers. Oh, so Amazing Race is also once a year, I assume. I got halfway through and then something came up, but I'll go back and view again. What I saw so far was awesome. Hey, Charicity, I was asking about you at the beginning. And Charicity popped up. VPN. But what website is what I'm asking? What website do you view it on? I was asking about you and also Ashley, but I do know that Ashley said that she was going to be going to the movies with her niece, I think she told me. So she wouldn't be able to see it. It used to be twice a year, but in the recent years, it turned out to be a once a year thing. Oh, I see. Who would y'all like to see me interview next? That's what I want to know because I actually don't have anyone else on my plate or on my agenda or anything like that. Like I had a big start for the year with this one, but I don't have a second person. Not saying that I will not interview anyone else, but used to, because I love The Amazing Race. I have not been able to get into it. I was on for a while, then got pulled away. You'll have to, when you go back and circle back to it, you'll have to drop me your feedback on Facebook or in the comments. Chiricity. Johnny Mac. I'm actually looking at a few of the comments for this interview. Oh, Vicky also didn't make it onto this one. I'm sure Vicky will circle back on the replay also. How are y'all Saturdays going, by the way? And listen, it's not lost on me that you all sat here for an hour and a half because somebody told me that this is the short form era. In other words, people are more interested in watching a 2-3 minute clip than they are going to be for sitting and watching an hour plus interview. But y'all were in the interview, engaged, asking questions or giving your commentary. And it's hard to find a group that likes that. So I appreciate that. Oh, you saw it okay, so you saw like 2/3 of it. Thank you. Vicky must have got pulled away. My entire Saturday has been spent with you. Tori wouldn't be a bad one. You know what? I would like to interview Tori. And it's so funny because I met Tori 2 times and I didn't ask her about an interview. I think I did though. I think I sent her an email when I met her in 2023. I think I sent her an email trying to get an interview. I didn't get a response, but I feel like she would do one now. She's responsive to me on social media, so I feel like now she would do an interview with me. That's a good suggestion. YouTube Premium sometimes shows it. I'm gonna look for it. Hold on. My attention span isn't bad after all. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. That's a good suggestion. I'm gonna try. We rule. We slayed. Our eldest son is visiting and cooking us amazing steak. I was actually watching the interview myself on TV. I had the interview on TV, and I was doing some things in the background, and I was having fun responding to the comments. That's okay, Chiricity. And shout out to you. Actually, shout out to Chiricity again for being one of the first donations when I asked for donations. When I was like, hey, should I pay for this interview? Chiricity was like, let me help. And she sent me a donation, and herself and Ashley were the reason why I was like, no matter whether I get to that $300 number or not, I am still going to do the interview. If I have to supplement the rest of it with my own money, I will do so. I'm on Power Girls TV. They saying, "Hey, Mom's fam." I'm on Shricities TV. Everyone who has it on TV, you're on their TV. I like watching these things on, like, especially my own. I like putting them on my TV because it makes me feel like I'm on TV. Even though it's YouTube, it makes me feel like I have a TV show of my own. Because I would love, in some kind of parallel universe, to have my own TV show where these people are like, I want to be on Mark's TV show doing these interviews. Oh, you can hear the ambulances and stuff in the background, I guess. To me, it's I'm immune to that, and people are like, "Oh, what's going on in your background?" I'm like, "Oh, when you live somewhere for 12 years, 13 years, it just becomes standard. You don't hear it." Yeah, actually, to tell you the truth, it's not even just a money thing. The money is a part of it. But I was really asking, do y'all think that it's worth it to pay somebody to get an interview with them? Especially to pay somebody from like a reality TV show. Because if you're talking to me and saying, would you pay I don't know, Barack Obama to do an interview with you? I'd be like, of course, because obviously if I pay Barack Obama the money to do the interview, I'm going to get millions of viewers. So it's easily makes sense as a worthwhile investment. Now, if I pay a challenger, I don't know how many views Kara is going to get me, but it was more of a question mark for me. Like, is it worth it for me to pay somebody from the challenge to do an interview? And then when I asked in my membership page, and everyone was like, most everybody was like, definitely. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it. I just believed in the cause. I knew how great it was going to be. And I'm telling you, I'm rarely happy with how things turn out when it comes to those interviews and stuff, but I'm happy with how this one turned out. I can nitpick on little tiny things that I'm like, I could have tweaked that or done this a little bit differently, but generally very happy with how it went. When firefighters or ambulance pull up, you can look and see eyes peeking in every window. Sure, Ma. Only if you want to see it. Like, like, yeah, I'm gonna call him tomorrow because he's on my speed dial. Mo Bamba. It was lovely. Mark multitasking in chat while keeping up with Carl was impressive to me. Yeah, it was a pre-recorded. I will let you know how it goes. All right, so I got about 5 more minutes left. So if y'all want to drop in some final questions, you can. But again, I just want to close off with thanking everybody for your support, for your donations that you gave me, and for just your feedback. the commentary about the interview. It helps me to know what's good or what can be improved upon and what can be better. And whoever the next person is that's on my plate, I don't know who that person is going to be because I don't have anyone planned or anything like that. But whenever I get that next opportunity, my aim is always to do even better than the last one. I don't know when the last time I had a hot pocket was. Probably, I don't know, because it was probably a while ago. I might have had one last year, but it was probably months and months ago. Yeah, the last time I tried to have a live interview, I want to say it was with Wes, and the fandom liked it, but it's a little hard just because I couldn't get through nearly all of my questions. So that's why I presently don't do lives, live interviews, that is, anymore. Oops. You should eat more hot pockets. Pretty high bar to reach. Great work. I'll give it another extra view later tonight to watch the ending, but I'm going to watch the whole thing again. It was great. Thank you. I have seen it 4 times at this point, I think. So I think I'm done with watching it, but I'm going to be sharing it around and hopefully get the views up some more and go from there. And I hope I do get to interview Tori. I would like to interview Tori. It's actually way easier, to be honest with you. Thank you, Charicity. Charicity sent me a Cash App. It's actually way easier, to be honest with you, to have it recorded already, and then I can do different things in my house while the interview is playing, and then just come back and forth because I was doing some cooking, I was doing some eating. I was able to multitask and do multiple things while I was watching with y'all. So that was a fun part of it for me. Wait, I missed a bunch of comments apparently. Oh, wait a minute. See you, Palaver. You couldn't tell it was pre-recorded. My, it's so funny. 5 bags of popcorn. Yeah, I enjoy that also. Thank you. It's not a complete live without Ma telling us she has to pee. Yeah, that's true. YouTube acts like we're business partners. I mean, yeah, we're business partners in a sense. But what I'm saying is, if y'all send a super chat, I want to say I get 70% of it and YouTube gets 30% of it. So like a $10 super chat, I would get like 7. So what, a $5, the $5 super chats that I asked for, I'm getting about $3.50 out of those $5. So, and it was a big day. Thank you, Charicity. If I could find another platform aside from YouTube, the only thing about YouTube is obviously when it comes to doing these kind of things, I feel like YouTube is the fastest way to get to the viewers quickly. But if there was another platform, I would definitely be jumping on that platform. If that platform gets created one day, then I'm going to be on it. Maybe I should just figure out a way to create my own platform. However, I don't have the tech ability to do that. So I actually have Buy Me a Coffee. Now that you mention that, hold on. Let me see if I can open that up. I have Buy Me a Coffee. I don't think I got any donations from that, but I created one and I shared it. Again. Yeah, I definitely have a Buy Me a Coffee page. I wonder if it shows me a link. I don't know. Anyways, I'll figure that out later. It's not important. It's not important for the time being. Listen, I'm not mad at super chats. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether YouTube takes money out of that or not, I'm not. I'm appreciative of super chats. And if you choose to send me Cash Apps or PayPal's, I'm appreciative of that as well. Um, whichever one, whichever one works for you. If I had a preference, yeah, Cash App goes right to me and PayPal goes right to me and Zelle goes right to me. I don't have to worry about fees from that, but I know that some people, it's easiest for them to just hit the little $ and throw the Cash App in there, and I'm fine with that too. And then also whatever you give me in super chats, YouTube pays you once a month. So the Cash Apps or whatever, I get that instantly, and the YouTube payment comes in. Think about around the 20th or so of every month. PayPal takes your money, but it's a very small. It's like a 1 to 2%. Like it's a very small percentage. Like if somebody gave me $10 on YouTube, I would get like 9 something. If somebody gave me $10 of super chat, I would get like $7. Yeah, everybody uses. Lots of people use Cash App. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining me again. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I might jump back on here later. So I'll figure that out. I'll let y'all know, and I'll talk to you soon.